They yelled at us and they called us by our character names, and like the guys were really scary, and it was exhausting physically, and to this day it's the hardest thing I've ever done.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. There was a report recently that Marvel is trying to bring Ben Affleck back for a big villain role. Obviously, very big deal, because technically it would mean Ben Affleck returning to Marvel. I know everybody wondered if he'd ever come back as his version of Daredevil, because we have Deadpool and Wolverine, we have Avengers 6 Secret Wars, we know that Tobey Maguire is coming back as his version of Spider-Man during Secret Wars. Pretty much anybody that ever thought about being a Marvel character in the last 30 years is coming back in Secret Wars in some way. Many different multiverse opportunities for characters from Fox Marvel, other Marvel movies to come back. We literally just got confirmation that Jennifer Garner's version of Elektra from that Ben Affleck Daredevil movie is coming back during Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, I don't think he's coming back in Deadpool and Wolverine. That's not the role that they wanted him back for. But it looks like the character that Marvel's actually trying to get him to play is very different from anything he did in previous Marvel movies like Daredevil or in the DC movies like Batman. So we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. We just got a brand new Deadpool and Wolverine trailer with all kinds of cameos, and it only included some of the cameos that's going to be in the actual movie because they're doing reshoots right now and adding even more characters at the last minute. And speaking of Cameo Fest, we're also in the middle of the X-Men 97 multi-part finale that's almost done, and there have been so many cameos in that, so it'll be fun to see who's going to show up in the next couple of weeks. So you may have seen that Marvel is trying to get Ben Affleck as Dario Agger in the Marvel Phase 5 movies. It's not for Thor 5, even though Dario Agger is typically associated with the Thor characters. He showed up in one of his biggest stories during a Thor comic book. That was actually part of the Jane Foster Mighty Thor comics set right after her initial debut in the comics a couple of years ago, also after the Gore the God Butcher storyline. But right now Jane Foster is dead, and they're not bringing her right back anytime soon. And they're not planning on doing Thor 5 during Marvel Phase 5 at least, even though Chris Hemsworth has said that he will do Thor 5. He's coming back for more Marvel movies, but the tone of Thor 5 will be radically different from Thor Love and Thunder. It won't be as comedic as what Taika Waititi did with the movie, and he's also probably not going to come back and direct Thor 5. It'll probably be somebody totally different. It's for a totally different movie. I'll explain which in a second. Dario Agger, mostly known as the head of Roxxon, a natural resources company called Roxxon Energy. It's been referenced a billion times across a bunch of Marvel movies and a bunch of Marvel TV shows.
Before the war, there were only 3 refineries capable of something like this.
Navy tore down Franklin Chemical, and Eagle Star converted to diesel, so that only leaves...
Roxxon.
Right.
This has to be 200 acres?
You've probably seen it mentioned in the background on some sign of some building somewhere in one of the TV series or the movies. Even as far back as the Agent Carter series set during the 1940s, 1950s. They even reference them as recently as the She-Hulk series on one of the gas stations. They're one of the many evil corporations inside the Marvel Universe that are trying to exploit as many natural resources as possible, like oil, gas, precious metals, diamonds, gold, semiconductors, all that kind of stuff. Even though the director of Ant-Man 3 Quantumania said they weren't going to completely pay off that Sonny Birch Easter egg from Ant-Man and the Wasp, where he said that he wanted quantum energy for a mysterious quote-unquote buyer with billions of dollars to spend. They actually later revealed that that was going to be a separate version of MODOK before they wound up doing Ant-Man 3 as Quantumania. So previously they had completely separate ideas about how they were going to pay that off. Dario Agger, in control of Roxxon, would be one of those characters in Marvel that has billions of dollars to spend and would also want his hands on quantum energy. So they basically try to do anything they can to mine every precious resource on this planet or any other planet outside of Earth. During the Eternals movie, Cersei also made sure to leave a giant stone celestial, Tiamat, in the Indian Ocean, and it's bristling with cosmic energy, advanced cosmic metals, all kinds of resources that planet Earth doesn't either know about yet or knew about and are super rare just because of the way Celestials' bodies work. It is like the new biggest natural resource on planet Earth, ripe for the taking. Everybody with any kind of interest in that is looking for it in Marvel Phase 5. It's a bigger plot point during Marvel Phase 5 just in general. Finally going to see them do something with that giant stone celestial. Even though there was a joke about it during She-Hulk, it came during the scene where she was browsing the internet, and within that scene, on her webpage, they had jokes about a bunch of different Marvel references. Even the Wolverine character, like Man with Metal Claws, gets in bar fight, like, they're referencing the very first Bryan Singer X-Men movie. Wolverine, we know now, Hugh Jackman is coming to the MCU, but in a very different kind of way.
Hi, Peanut. I'm gonna need you to come with me right now.
Look, lady, I'm not interested.
Oh, whiskey dick of the claws. It's quite common in Wolverines over 40.
Because of the way Deadpool 3 is invoking the TVA time travel to mess with the timeline, many timelines, destroy quote-unquote timelines, destroy the Fox Marvel universe, it is possible that reference could turn into a Deadpool 3 reference, but I don't know if they were making that when they wrote it that way. But on the page, you see a joke about a giant stone man that people are confused about. You have to imagine if they were trying to be more real world with this, like how would the world actually react to a giant stone celestial like that? There would be so many Instagram and social media influencers trying to get pics of themselves on that. It'd be crazy. Forget about all the people like Thunderbolt Ross and the world governments trying to get their hands on it to weaponize it. There's always so many questions about that. They will pay that off during Captain America 4 Brave New World. It's part of the big adamantium plot. I did a whole breakdown of the Captain America 4 trailer that they did at CinemaCon. They didn't release it online, but I did a breakdown of the trailer, so I'll post links for that at the end of this. Even though it seems like an adamantium search and destroy kind of movie, it's more in the vein of Winter Soldier, a bit of a thriller type of movie, which I think is a solid way to go for them. The reason why Dario Agger's typically thought of as a big villain is because he literally sold his soul to gain the powers of the mythical Minotaur from Greek mythology. He was born in Greece to rich parents. He spent most of his life on an island in the Aegean Sea. When he was 9, his parents were killed by pirates. He escaped, hid in a nearby cave, prayed for help, and when the pirates found him in front of a statue of a bull the next morning, his prayers were answered and he was transformed into the Minotaur. Here's where we get to our villain origin story though. Instead of using those brand new powers of the Minotaur to kill them, he actually kept the pirates alive and continued to torture them for the rest of their lives. Then using his new power and the wealth given to him through his parents, he just continued to grow up into like a version of Norman Osborn who was more concerned with natural resources. He became the CEO of Roxxon Energy, whereas someone like Norman Osborn is more of a scientist.
You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
But he's the same type of personality as someone like Norman Osborn. It's the same type of vibe. Someone who is cold, calculating, very good at their job, very good at making money, but also wants to exploit the world. Since Marvel's largely already shot Captain America 4 and they're in the middle of shooting the Thunderbolts movie, I don't expect him to be in the Thunderbolts movie. That's meant to literally be the end of Marvel Phase 5, so it sounds like they're trying to get him for a character that would appear at some point during one of the Marvel Phase 6 movies. And we actually only know some of the Marvel Phase 6 movies. There's still a lot of untitled, undated ones in there too, before Avengers Secret Wars happens. Generally, all Marvel's focus right now is on Deadpool and Wolverine this year, and then Captain America Brave New World next year, just because so much is happening in that movie. They're introducing a new version of the Avengers team finally. They're introducing the Thunderbolts for the first time, Red Hulk, Thunderbolt Ross. They're also introducing the recast version of Harrison Ford as Thunderbolt Ross. And he's going to become the President of the United States in that movie, and it sounds like they're also using it to pay off part of the Bruce Banner Planet Hulk storyline with Scar that we saw at the end of the She-Hulk series. As far as him coming back as a version of his Daredevil from the multiverse in Avengers 6 Secret Wars, it's always possible. They did make lots of references to the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie. If you don't remember, in the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie, Jon Favreau played a version of Foggy Nelson.
Listen to this. Eyewitnesses say that Quesada was singled out by the demonic vigilante known as the Daredevil.
I don't know why you read that trash.
I've been hearing stories about this guy for years. There's got to be something to it.
What, like the alligators in the sewers?
There are alligators in the sewers. Don't ride my ass about the alligators. I got a friend in sanitation, okay? He's seen them.
When they had the scene with Happy Hogan, Jon Favreau, in Charlie Cox Daredevil, they made a bunch of references to that other version of Daredevil. Jon Favreau said on the day, too, there's a lot of deleted scenes that they didn't include on the DVD and they haven't released anywhere, where they just continue to make jokes about that other version of Daredevil.
Happy. Stop sweating. How do you do that?
The other big Ben Affleck announcement you may have seen recently is because of all the DC stuff, Ben Affleck, Batman, James Gunn taking over DC, rebooting all the DC movies. As part of all those James Gunn announcements, he did say that he had talked to Ben Affleck about coming back to direct a DC movie. Now, I don't think there's any way he would direct a new Batman movie. I think he's trying to step away from that. But you guys can let me know in the comments if he did direct a DC movie. Let me know what you want that to be. The fine print on that is that he actually talked to him a while ago, so Ben Affleck could change his mind, which he's been known to do several times in the past. There have been several points when he was still playing Batman where he said he was completely done, but then he came back for the Flash movie, the Aquaman 2 post-credit scene that then wound up getting deleted. He even joked about finally figuring out the Batman movie when he came back for The Flash. Like, oh, can I come back and do more Batman now? But he was kind of joking at the same time. So honestly, he says all kinds of stuff when it comes to him doing more comic book related movies. But the whole idea is that Kevin Feige doesn't really care about whether or not people go and do DC stuff. Like James Gunn literally went and did the Suicide Squad movie, then came back to do Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and the holiday special, and now he's going back again to become the Kevin Feige of DC.
We have a wonderful thing called the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special coming out. We have a wonderful thing called Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 coming out in May. How will he have any time to work on DC until May, I don't know. But once he does have the time, I'll be very excited and first in line.
It is cool to see how Kevin Feige is so excited to watch James Gunn's new DC movies. Obviously, he's in the middle of shooting the new Superman movie right now. Fun fact too, there's actually a super deep cut connection between Kevin Feige and the original Christopher Reeve Superman movie. I'll probably talk about that when I do more Superman videos though. So it's the same situation with people like Ben Affleck, like, oh, it was so great that version of Batman that you played. Can't wait to see what kind of DC movies you direct. Why don't you also come be in one of our Marvel movies at the same time? Kevin Feige even said that it was actually cool for Josh Brolin to come back as Cable in live action after playing Thanos so much during the Infinity Saga movies. Chris Evans is a really great example of that. We might actually see a cameo from him as his version of Johnny Storm in Deadpool 3. But everyone let me know in the comments, which Marvel movie would you want to see Ben Affleck show up in during Marvel Phase 5 or Marvel Phase 6? They didn't say if it was going to be a really big character or if it'd be like a one-off thing kind of like Gore the God Butcher or Christian Bale. There's a bunch of stuff coming up. We're in the middle of CCXP right now, so we're probably going to get a bunch more trailers. I'll try to do videos for everything as quickly as possible. We also have the X-Men 97 finale part 2, so be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss any of that stuff. Everybody click here for that Captain America 4 trailer, and click here for all my CCXP trailer videos. I'll update the link as soon as I post all those new ones. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.